وعليكم عرضتم به من خطبة النساء أو أكننتم في أنفسكم علم الله أنكم ستذكرونهن ولكن لا تواعدوهن سرا إلا أن تقولوا قولا معروفا ولا تعزموا عقدة النكاح حتى يبلغ الكتاب أجله واعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في أنفسكم فاحذروه واعلموا أن الله غفور حليم. لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم ما لم تمسوهن أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة ومتعوهن على الموسع قدره وعلى المقتر قدره وإن طلقتموهن أن يعفون أو يعفو الذي بيده عقدة أقرب للتقوى ولا تنسوا الفضل بينكم إن الله بما تعملون بصير.
There's an icon there that has
حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين. فإن خفتم فرجالا أو ركبانا فإذا أمنتم فاذكروا الله كما علمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون. والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا وصية لأزواجهم متاعا إلى الحول غير إخراج فإن خرجن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن بالمعروف والله عزيز حكيم. وللمطلقات متاع بالمعروف كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تعقلون.
Am I online already? I think I'm online here.
Oh, YouTube.
ألم تر إلى الذين خرجوا من ديارهم وهم ألوف حذر الموت فقال لهم الله موتوا ثم أحياهم إن الله لذو فضل على الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون. وقاتلوا في سبيل الله واعلموا أن عليم. من ذا الذي له أضعافا كثيرة والله يقبض ويبسط وإليه ترجعون. ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى موسى إذ قالوا لنبي له ابعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله قال هل عسيتم إن كتب عليكم القتال ألا تقاتلوا قالوا وما لنا ألا نقاتل في سبيل الله وقد أخرجنا من ديارنا وأبنائنا فلما كتب عليهم القتال تولوا إلا قليلا منهم والله عليم بالظالمين وقال لهم نبيهم إن الله قد بعث لكم طالوت ملكا قالوا أنى يكون له الملك علينا ونحن أحق بالملك منه ولم يؤت سعة من المال قال إن الله اصطفاه عليكم وزاده بسطة في العلم والجسم والله يؤتي ملكه من يشاء والله واسع عليم وقال لهم نبيهم إن آية ملكه أن يأتيكم التابوت فيه سكينة من ربكم وبقية مما ترك آل موسى وآل هارون تحمله الملائكة إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين فلما فصل طالوت بالجنود قال إن الله مبتليكم بنهر فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيده فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرا بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين ولما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين فهزموهم بإذن الله وقتل داود جالوت وآتاه الله الملك والحكمة وعلمه مما جاء ولولا دفع الله الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسدت الأرض ولكن الله ذو فضل على العالمين تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وإنك لمن المرسلين تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض منهم من كلم الله ورفع بعضهم درجات وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس ولو شاء الله ما اقتتل الذين من بعدهم من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات ولكن اختلفوا منهم من ومنهم من كفر ولو شاء الله ما اقتتلوا ولكن الله يفعل ما يريد يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا بيع فيه ولا خلة ولا شفاعة
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من أمسه ونفخه ونفثه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى يا معلم آدم علمنا يا مفهم سليمان فهمنا يا معلم آدم علمنا يا مفهم سليمان فهمنا وعلمك ما لم تكن تعلم وكان فضل الله عليك عظيم المستمعون الكرام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. A very good morning to everyone wherever you are. I hope everyone is doing well and doing fine bi-idhnillah. So this is we share our feelings with each other at this testing and tempting moment of ours, where the Ummah entirely and the whole world globally is being tested with the epidemic disease, the coronavirus, or if you like, you can call it Chinese virus or Wuhan virus or COVID-19 as the World Health Organization calls it. So before we continue with this session, we have three ways of joining these sessions, inshallah. One is through the live YouTube, and the other one is through the Facebook live, and the other one is through Life Size app that I just sent. All the three streams are being sent to our Telegram group. So, but it's very important here to say that the third one that I sent, this Life Size, It allows for conversation. If you want to comment, if you want to say anything during the session, so you can use the live size, but the live size is only limited to 24 or 25 participants. So the YouTube can take as much as we can. I'm sure we are not more than 169 in the class, and the Facebook can take unlimited participant, I believe. So having said that, so I still have to approve this, right? The Facebook one, I still have to approve them. I thought it is automatic. Well, first thing first, before we go and continue with our classes, I would like to remind myself and remind everyone that this testing moment, particularly the coronavirus session that we are in together, so we believe that it is a temptation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is number one. It is a temptation from Allah to test our belief and to test our iman. And there have been various calamities, issues affecting the Ummah, affecting the Muslim, affecting the whole world together entirely. But every one of us have been silent about them. We didn't say anything. So look at the issue of the Uyghur Muslims in China that have been punished unnecessarily. Look at the Myanmar who are punishing and burying Muslims alive. Look at the India. Look at every places all over the world. The WHO is not saying anything at that time. The UN is not saying anything at that time. The US is not saying anything at that time. Even the Saudi Arabia is not saying anything at that time. The OIC, the so-called OIC countries, they kept silent and mute. So do we think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just sit down and look and watch all of us keeping silent, punishing his ibad and his servants? So I think this is just a reminder for all of us to reflect on our state and on our state of iman, that Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah will not change the condition of any given nation unless they change their perspective of things. So unless we change our perspective of each other, unless we count each other as brothers and sisters, that anything that affects one person, one Muslim affects all. Anything that affects one humanity affects the whole humanity as a whole. At that time, the whole world is going to be at peace, and only that time Allah is going to work. Allah is going to change the condition in which we are in. So we are in this together. So the Chinese is not the only one suffering for it. China is not the only one suffering for it. And the Wuhan, from where they think the disease started from, is not the only one suffering for this. US is not the only one suffering for this. Saudi is not the only one suffering for this. We are in it together. So it is just a reflection, a time and a moment of reflection for all of us. So then we have to change our lifestyle, and we have to change our perspective of things and ourselves. That is number one. Number two, wherever you are, do not wait for the military to come and tell you to stay indoor until you stay indoor. Please stay indoor. That is in line with the Quranic verses that say, "Ati'ullaha wa ati'ur Rasul wa ulil amri minkum." So you have to. So following the ulul amr is also is an Islamic injunction. So we have to listen to the government. So these are the preventive measures that are supposed to curb and stop the spread of the disease. So let us cooperate with the government. Let us cooperate with our leaders and those whom we have put on the realm of affairs, in order that we all be saved from all this calamity altogether. So the government also is not happy that they are confining the citizens into their houses. But that is the only measure they can do for now. So in order to curb the spread. So, and we have to understand. So anyone that goes against the other and the commandments and the issue of the MCO, the movement control order, so is actually going against the Quranic injunction of wa ulil amri minkum, and by that, in the same manner, is going against the order of the Prophet and against the order of the Quran. So that I wish to remind ourselves, let us be obedient to the rules and regulations laid down by those in authority. So the police there are there to maintain peace, and the military they are also there to maintain peace. They are our brothers and sisters. So you have to understand that they also feel with us. So they are human beings. So, but if we don't listen, so they are going to go very rude on us. So that is one thing I like to clarify before we continue here. So, and another point that I need to say is that we have to follow the preventive measures very well. Washing our palms, our hands every time we touch anything, any surface. Even when you touch your own face, you still have to wash your own hand, and you wash your face. When you touch your door, the doorknob, when you touch your chair, when you touch your bed, when you touch your telephone, even when you take your purse from outside your purse and you take money outside your purse, you still need to wash your hands. So let us keep to personal hygiene. Keep our environment neat, keep the house neat, and make sure we avoid cold drinks, fizzy drinks. Avoid McDonald's for now. Please stop the subway for now. Stop all those outside and food the junk food that we are used to. Cook at your home. Cook the food that your parents prepare for you, the food that your wives, your spouse have prepared for you. Eat them. They are more delicious than the ones that you have at takeaway corners. So that is it's very important that we eat what we produce at this time. So avoid eating sweet things. So drink a lot of water, and if need be, you drink lemon. Not lemon. I'm not talking about the lemons juice in the carton in the can. No, the one that you produce yourself, the homemade lemonade juice. So that you blend the juice, you take the juice, and without adding sugar, you can take the juice. Also, ginger juice, we also solve the problem. And so beetroot will also solve the problem, and something of that. And if you can get green papaya, the green papaya, you cut it into fresh water and allow it to ferment. Then you just take the sip of the water, a glass cup in the morning, a glass cup in the evening. So that will also solve the problem. And don't forget the recitation of Surah to Yasin. So read Surah to Yasin on a bowl of water. Keep it in your house. Anytime you want to drink water, drink from there. Okay, read Surah to the Fatiha, and there are a lot of azkar and mathurat that are permitted by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So let us not forget that we are all Muslims. We have a foundation, a faith foundation. So let us remember that. So having said that, I think that is just a preventive measure for all of us. Now, let us also tawbah a lot. We have offended ourselves. We have offended the nature. We have offended Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us tawbah. So no one is too young to die, and no one is too old to die. So anyone can go any time. لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ إِذَا جَاءَ أَجَالُهُمْ فَلَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. So we have to take the preventive measure, but we have to put at our mind that these are not the things that are going to save us from death. If our time is destined to be now, it will come at now. If it is destined to be later, it will come later. Okay, so we take preventive measure, but again, we still have to depend on Allah. We have to tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because even if we do all of this, still have to remember إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة. But you haven't said that, we have to keep ourselves safe. Okay, keep ourselves safe so that we will not fall into the category of ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم إن الله كان بكم رحيما. Allah says we should not intentionally or knowingly killing ourselves. We should not harm ourselves. If we do that again, then we are going against the commandment of Allah. So we have to be moderate. We are a moderate nation. Now, we are going to start from where we stopped in the class. We are going to start from where we stopped in the class before the mid-sem break. In this mid-sem break, I think we stopped on Al-Falasifa. Give me 1 minute to search for. Okay. Yeah. For those of you that have the new book, the Ustaz Ibrahim's version of the book. So we are starting from page 127. Page 127. Okay. Falasifatul Muslimun. Okay. الفلاسفة المسلمون والاتجاهات العامة في تفكيرهم الفلسفي. Okay, so that is where we are going to start. So the original book, which is the soft copy, I do not have access to it at home. It is in the office. So those who have that also can also follow with it. But the page I think should be around the page 99, if I'm not mistaken. But please check. Okay. So we are going to continue and start from here. Al-falasifatul muslimun أو فلاسفة المسلمون والاتجاهات العامة في تفكيرهم الفلسفي. العامة للفلاسفة, the general characteristics of the Muslim philosophers. So the general characteristics, what are the things that are common among them? What are the common traits among all of them that if we see in one and we must see in the other? So what are those traits? So that is what we are going to talk about here. And now, when we talk about Muslim philosophers, there is a very important point that we should keep in our mind. We are not talking about a particular individual that has a particular and specific trait per se. So rather, under this Falasifatul Muslimun, we are combining under this phrase all scholarship, all Islamic scholarship and the scholastic process. So meaning to say, under it we have al-hukamahu, under it we have as-sufiyun, under this we have al-ulama'u, under this we have al-falasifa, under this we have at-tibbiyuna, under this we have al-kimmiyuna, under this we have al-fisiyaiyuna, under this we have al-mantiqiyuna, under this we have al-lugawiyuna, under this we have a lot of them. So meaning to say, the kalma al-falasifatul muslimun لا يتركز على موضوع بدون الآخر في موضوعات الدراسات الإسلامية. So when we say this, we also have under them fuqaha, al-fuqaha, the jurists. We say muhaddithuna are also under the kalima al-falasifa. But basically, according to this book, we divide them into three categories. We divide them into how many? Into three categories. Category number one is the category of the ilahiyun. Category of ilahiyun. Majmu'a or jama'atul ilahiyun. Number two, category of at-tabi'iyun. At-tabi'iyun. Then number three is what? The category of as-sufiyun. So we are going to explain each of these separately. inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But very briefly, so man humul ilahiyun, humul ladina yatarakkazuna ala dirasatil ilahiyya. As we have said in the class before the mid-sem break, okay, so there are three particular stages of translation, the eras of translation. But we divided into two, but they are actually three. Number one is the stage of translation of al-mantiq. Number two is the stage of translating the kutub at-tibb, the books of medicine. Okay, so but these number one and two are combined together under one era. Okay, so number three is the era of translating al-falsafatul ilahiyya. So those who concentrate on this falsafatul ilahiyya, they are those we are referring to as al-ilahiyun here. Okay, ilahiyun. Ilahiyun, those who study theological philosophy, uh, religious philosophy per se. Okay, so number two, the category number two is the category of the I'm trying to resize the screen here. Okay, so the category number two is the Tabi'iyun, the naturalist. But the naturalist we are talking about here is not as the Greek naturalist. It's not as a modern naturalism. So we are going to explain it later. Meaning to say, those who combine divinity with naturalism. They study divine philosophy and natural philosophy together. So those are those we refer to as the At-Tabi'iyun. As-Sufiyun, the third category, if you remember, when we were talking about al-Hind, al-Adiyan al-Hindiyya wal-Budhiyya wal-Farisiyya. So when we are talking about their influences on Islam and Islamic philosophy, so we said that the Muslim philosophers, they were greatly influenced with this with Hinduism, Buddhism, and so on and so forth. So those who take after the practices of this Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, okay, so they are those we are talking about here as Sufiyun. So for those who have this book, we are reading from page 127. يدخل تحت عنوان الفلاسفة المسلمين جماعة من المفكرين المسلمين أطلق عليهم اسم الفلاسفة أوكي المنطقيين أو الإلهيين وهؤلاء كان لهم دور كبير في التفكير الإسلامي سواء في المشرق أم في المغرب فمن أهل المشرق الكندي والفارابي وابن سينا ومن أهل المغرب ابن رشد وابن طفيل. Okay, under the title Muslim philosophers, so it comprises a group of Muslim thinkers. So we can call them, sometimes we call them philosophers, sometimes we call them logicians, and sometimes we call them theologians. Okay, so it is meaning to say these Falasifatul Muslim philosophers is not concentrated on a particular group. So rather, it comprises all Muslim thinkers. Okay, and all of this, whether they are falasifa or we call them mantikiyun or we call them ilahiyun, كان لهم دور كبير في التفكير الإسلامي. They have important and great roles to play in Islamic thought, in establishing and formalizing Islamic thought, whether they are from the eastern part or they are from the western part. Remember in the class we said when we mention Eastern part here, we mean the Arab nation or the Muslim nations, the Eastern nation. So when we mention the Western, the Western world, such as the Greek, the Spain, and the European world that we have, and the contemporary Western societies that we. So whether they are from the Islamic or the Muslim or the Arabs part, or they are from non-Arabs or non-Muslim parts. Okay, so they are all combined together as Falasifatul Muslimun because they have great influences on the uh, thinking, on the thought of of Islam. Okay, so take for instance during the translation era, you have Isaac Ibn Hanin. Okay, so who was a Syriac Christian scholar who spearheaded the translation process. Okay, so example of those from the Arab Muslim parts, Al-Kindi, Al-Farabi, and Ibn Sina, and from the Western part we have Ibn Rushdi and Ibn Tufail. اوكي كما يندرج تحت هذا العنوان ايضا جماعه عرفوا باسم الفلاسفه الطبيعيين. Okay, so also included under this title Muslim philosophers are those we call natural philosophers. Okay, وقد عرف منهم في المشرق الطبيب أبو بكر محمد ابن زكريا الرازي. Some of them are example of them is the medic, okay, Abu Bakr al-Razi, والذي يلقبه بعض المؤرخين بالدهري. كما يدخل تحته فريق آخر عرف باسم المتصوفة. Okay, also included in this another group that are called the Sufis, the ascetics people. وهم طائفتان الإشراكيون وعلى رأسهم السحر وردي. So this Sufi group, they are divided into two groups. They are divided into two sects. The Ishrakiyun, so those from the Easterners, so such as the Sahrawardi and Ashabu Wahdat al-Wujud, wala rafsihim Muhyiddin ibn al-Arabi. Okay, فأصحاب الاتجاه الإلهي هم الذين تناولوا العلة الأولى بالبحث على ضوء الفلسفة الإغريقية. فلاسفة المسلمون under three major categories. Category number one, the Ilahiyuna, okay, or the Mantiqiyuna, or the philosopher. Okay, so that is category number one. Category number two, Falasifatu Tabi'iyyin. So number three, Al-Mutasawwifa. So the أصحاب الاتجاه الإلهي يعني الإلهيون هم الذين تناولوا العلة الأولى بالبحث. So what is العلة الأولى here? العلة الأولى is the primary cause. So the primary cause, the greatest authority that has no other authority beyond it. Okay, so in the Greek sense, so it is natural. The illatul ula, or the primary cause, or the causative agent of everything, is the word is nature. So they have misconception on that, and they have different perceptions of that. Some of them call it water. Some of them call it the four basic sources are the materials. So such as water, air, fire, and soil. Okay. So and some call it as la mutanahi, infinite. Okay, la shay'a, nothing, nothingness, and so on and so forth. Okay, anyway, the illatul ula here is what is the study of is a part of philosophy, so that studies about the basic foundation of things, of creation. Okay, and although they got their inspiration from the Greek thought, okay, this thought was Islamized sometimes later. So محاولين بذلك الملائمة بين هذه الآراء من جانب وبين العقيدة الإسلامية. So they united, so they facilitated the unity between the Greek thought of Illatul Ula and the Islamic thought of Allah being the primary source of everything and the creator. Okay, because so they found the characteristics of the Illatul Ula given by the Greeks, so they find it uh, conveniently suiting the characteristics, the attributes of God in the Islamic Aqidah. So that is the basic for me, the foundation for uniting the two together. That if you say al-illatul ula is al-awwal, al-akhir, al-zahir, al-batin, al-qawiyu, al-aziz, and so on and so forth. So these are the characteristics and the attributes that we give to God in Islam. So by this, when you mention al-illatul ula, perhaps you are misconceiving it, but it is what we call God and what we call Allah. So the study of this combination, so and those who study and concentrate on this are those we call al-falasifatul ilahiyun. Okay. So that is you go to the last line of that page. أما أصحاب الاتجاه الطبيعي في الفلسفة الإسلامية فلم يكونوا على نسق اتجاه الطبيعيين الإغريق على معنى أنهم لم يقصروا بحثهم على مظاهر الطبيعة المشاهدة وبيان أصل العالم المشاهد، فلم يتجاوزوه إلى البحث فيما وراء الطبيعة كما فعل فلاسفة اليونان، وإنما كان لهم منهج جديد. ذلك المنهج أنهم خلطوا ومزجوا الآراء الطبيعية مع الأفكار الإلهية وتكلموا في مباحث ما بعد الطبيعة which is الإلهية، وبذلك بعدت الشقة بينهم وبين الطبيعيين الإغريق، إذ إنهم لو ساروا على غرار الطبيعيين الإغريق في الاكتفاء ببحث مظاهر الطبيعة لرموا بالكفر من جانب الجماعة الإسلامية، على معنى أن الطبيعيين المسلمين عندما يتحدثون مثلا عن أصول العالم يذكرون أن من أصله المادة، فهم بهذا يشبهون الطبيعيين الأوليين من الإغريقيين، ولكنهم لا يقفون عند هذا الحد كما وقف الطبيعي الأول الإغريقي، وإنما يستطردون بعد ذكر المادة فيذكرون أن الله هو الذي حركها، وهم يذكرون ذلك ليلائموا يعني ليوافقوا ليتحدوا ليواهدوا بين الآراء الطبيعية الإغريقية وبين ما توجه العقيدة الإسلامية، وكون هذه الملاهنة إيجابية ومجدية أم ليست كذلك شيء آخر لا نبحث عنه الآن هنا. Okay, so the Tabi'iyuna, the Muslim naturalists, they are those who studied nature the same way that the Greek scholars studied nature. But rather than depending solely and entirely on nature, they did not. They relied solely on their Aqidah, Islamic Aqidah foundation. Meaning to say, although they believe that things were created materially, for example, in the Quran, we found that Ya ayyuhan nas in Surah Al-Hajj, right? So Ya ayyuhan nas in kuntum fi raybin min al-ba'thi fa inna khalaqnakum min turab. So that is a material, that is a matter. Okay, so matter scientifically could be any of the three or contemporary any of the four. Okay, it could be either solid, either liquid, or either gas. Okay, so now These are the basic foundation of or the basic belief of the naturalism. So the Muslim philosophers also believe that all these things, human being, animals, living things, non-living organisms, everything were created materially from matter. That is also buttressed by the ayah of the Quran. Okay, Ya ayuhan nasu in kuntum fi raibin min al-ba'thi fa inna khalaqnakum min turabin. Okay, so we have created you from dust, from dust to dust here, from this, from sound, from soil. And soil here is what is a material. Okay, it's a material substance. Then after creating you from turab, thumma mim nutfa, we created you from a processed sperm. Okay, so that is equally a material. Okay, thumma min nutfatin alaqa, then from that to congealed blood. So that is equally a material. Okay, thumma min mudghatin alaqa. Okay, from this and this and this, from these stages, all these things that are mentioned, they were materials. Okay, so they also believe in that. They worked on that. Okay. But they, in addition to that, they did not stop there. This is where the Greek philosophers and the pure naturalism, this is where they stopped, that everything started materially, everything is created and generated or evolved. Okay, everything evolved naturally, materially. So the pure naturalism uses the word evolvement, evolve. Everything evolved by themselves from matter. But the Muslim philosophers, the Muslim naturalists, they did not use the word evolve. They use created as opposed to evolve. So created, everything evolved, that is pure naturalism. Everything is created, that is Muslim naturalism, Islamic naturalism. So rather than saying and believe that things independently evolved from nature, so the Muslim philosophers go they go a way further, okay, ahead, to clarify the confusion, the misconception, by saying that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that controls those materials and those nature for them to perform naturally. Okay, according to the injunction of the Quran, that He is the one that has given everything who is the one that has given everything, khalqahu, that has created everything and given it its creation. Okay, so for those of you who are on the Facebook live, so that one has ended. So I'm going to reconnect it later. So we are just continuing with it with the with the YouTube session. Okay, so and we go back to the ayah. So inna khalaqnakum. So okay, although the verse equally mentioned the materialism, the material sources of things, but you will go back to the root of the inna khalaqnakum. Okay, we have created you. Okay, so meaning to say, Allah is the unmoved mover, so the primary source of everything, who created the natures, okay, the one that gave everything its own natural ability and capacity to act the way they do. Okay, so that is, so the Muslim naturalists, they went a mile ahead of the Greek naturalism, to clarify the issue around the creation. Okay, so that is about the Muslim nature, the al falasifatul ilahiyun. So we are going to go to Sufiyun. So I need to connect the Facebook here. The Facebook, where is it? How do we go about that? That's of the session, description. Yeah, we're going to start now, inshallah. So this is, all right, we start again. Okay. The third category is, okay, so there is, you go here, you choose another video. Okay. COVID-19. Okay. Islamic philosophy. Okay. Two. Okay. Go live. Okay. فالطبيعيون المسلمون هم نفر من فلاسفة المسلمين الذين قبلوا الآراء الإغريقية في المادة وأضافوا إليها نوعا من الملائمة بينها وبين الإسلام. So this is the definition of فلاسفة الطبيعيون المسلمون. Okay. So the فالطبيعيون المسلمون. So this is the definition. If you are looking for definition of Muslim naturalists, okay. So this is the definition you have on page 129 of Ustaz Ibrahim's version of the book. هم نفر يعني جماعة من فلاسفة المسلمين. فلاسفة المسلمين هي يعني مفكري المسلمين الذين قبلوا الآراء الإغريقية. قبلوا يعني تبنوا from تبنوا those who adopted Greek thought, okay, of matter. وأضافوا إليها نوعا من الملائمة من الموافقة بينها وبين الإسلام. So the Muslim naturalists are a group of Muslim philosophers and thinkers who adopted Greek opinion and idea, okay, who adopted Greek idea of matter, of materialism, and they combined with that idea a sort of Islamic belief, an idea and thought. So very basically, so the group of philosophers who studied Greek philosophy, okay, Greek naturalism, and complemented that idea with Islamic concept of creation. Okay, so in other words, they are the group of philosophers who combined the Greek concept of creation with the Islamic concept of creation. So that is basically who the Muslim philosophers or the Muslim naturalists are. So now we move on to Al-Mutasawwifa. وأما المتصوفة فهم فريق من فلاسفة المسلمين الذين قبلوا الفكر الإغريقي وأضافوا إليه بعض الأفكار الشرقية والفارسية والهندية ثم لائموا بين ما قبلوه من هنا وهناك من جانب وبين الإسلام من جانب آخر. I'm not sure whether we are here. So if we are here, if we are still around here, then we read again. Let's read that phrase again, okay, so that we can understand it. It says, Al-Mutasawwifa, yani Jama'atul Mutasawwifun, فَرِيقٌ مِّن فَلَاسِفَةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. That is also, they are also a part of Muslim philosophers. We cannot isolate them from Muslim philosophers. هم جماعة من فلاسفة المسلمين الذين قبلوا الآراء الإغريقية في المادة، يعني الذين درسوا مادية الإغريقية، okay، في الخلق، في بدء الخلق، في أصل الخلق. So they are those who accepted, who studied Greek idea of creation or Greek creational idea, Greek opinions and views of creation. Number one. Number two, they أضافوا إلى آراء الإغريقية في ماذا؟ They added to the Greek ideas of materialism, they added to it. What did they add? أضافوا إليه بعض الأفكار الشرقية, some Oriental idea. Some Oriental, when we mention Oriental, Oriental, Oriental. Oriental, anything from the eastern part of the world is what we call Oriental. That is where you have Oriental philosophy, meaning Eastern philosophy. So an euphemism for Arab philosophy, Islamic philosophy, as opposed to the Western idea. Okay, so we read again. They are those part of Muslim philosophers who studied Greek philosophy and adopted the Greek philosophy of the idea of creation. And they added to it the Oriental idea of creation. What does that mean? They also studied Oriental ideas of creation. What are these Oriental ideas of creation? Such as the Ara'ul Farisiyya, Ara'ul Hindiyya. So the Persian ideology, tradition, and the Hindu ideology and tradition. So that is number two, right? They studied Greek materialism, they studied Oriental ideology, and they combine these two together with their Islamic faith ideology, belief. Okay? So, ثُمَّ لَا بَيْنَ مَا قَبَلُوهُ مِنْ هُنَا وَهُنَاكَ. So, they combined what they studied from there and from here and there, from the Greek and from the Orient, from the eastern part of the world, from the Persian, from the Hindu. So they combined both of them together, okay, number one. And they also combined the combination of this, they combined it with Bain al-Islami min janibin akhar, with what? With the Islamic belief, with the Islamic ideology. Meaning to say, they had three things in they اتفقوا بين ثلاثة آراء. Number one, بين آراء الإغريقية في المادة، بين آراء الشركية في المادة وفي الخلق، وبين آراء الإسلامية في بدء الخلق. So they combine this together and they studied it. Why do we call them mutasawwifa then? Because their دراسة الفارسية والإندية الشرقية تأثر على دراساتهم الإغريقية في المادة. Because their study of Orientalism overshadowed their study of Greek materialism. And it also features in their what? In their Islamic appearance. So that is why we label them as Muslim naturalists. Okay? So by this, وقد كان هؤلاء المتصوفة تسيطر على تفكيرهم another. So there are three basic elements, characteristics, features that influence the thought of this mutasawwifa. Number one, al-unsur al-ighriqi. Number two, al-unsur al-sharqi. Number three, al-unsur al-islami. So as we have mentioned. So there are three elements. So they deal with three elements. Number one, the Greek elements. Number two, the Oriental elements. And number three, the Islamic elements. Okay, فالذين مزجوا بين العقيدة الإسلامية من جانب وبين الآراء الإغريقية مضافا إليها آراء زرادشتي الفارسية عرفوا باسم الإشراقيين. So by this, we want to clarify this mutasawwifa into different categories, into two. Okay, number one are those that we call the Orientalists, okay, such as the Sahrawardi, okay, and those that we call the